How are you? Happy Monday. I wanted to talk today about emotions and feelings. And often we can feel unhappy and have people just tell us to be happy. And it's not always that simple. And I kind of want to explain why. Because very few people talk about this, but there's two reasons. First, we have a set happiness quotient, meaning that due to our environment, the environment we were raised in, our biology, our culture, we all have like preset happiness quotients. And that's why when you see that one friend, we all have that one friend that seems happy no matter what. And it feels like they were born that way. And I always had this inclination that they were, deep down inside. And actually, I ended up being right because it's been proven, like I said, that we have a set happiness quotient. So some of us naturally are going to feel happier than other people simply because of that. And that might seem defeating. And like, what can we do about that, right? And then the second thing that we're up against is the fact that our brain has a negative bias. It's hardwired to be negative. And that's because of our ancestors and needing to flee dangerous situations when our adrenaline and our cortisol would get going. And that's for our own safety and our own protection. So our brain is skewed towards the negative. And some of us might have less of a happiness quotient that we're literally just born with. So not feeling like, why am I just not naturally happy? Number one, know that. And know, number two, that most people, in fact, we all really need to work on this. And the way to work on this is what you've probably heard before, but it's gratitude. And how are we grateful though? I think we look at all the things we have today that didn't exist just several hundred years ago or 1,000 years ago, all the conveniences we have and the things that other people already do for us that we can be grateful for. People we don't even know, the people who farm our food, the people who make our clothing, the people who invented the appliances, our fridge where we store the food, the people who invented our air conditioning, the people who invented our heating and installed it, right? So there's a lot to be grateful for in our lives that we often forget because of comparison, because we look on social media in particular, or we look at other people in our lives and they have more going for them. They might have the house that we want. They might have the marriage that we want. And we all have different timelines, so we can't be doing that. But something that I want to do for myself is go back to doing a gratitude journal. I used to do one in an app online, and I found it really helpful. But one mistake I was making, one thing I wasn't doing that could make it a lot more helpful is being super specific with what I'm grateful for. So if you say you're grateful for your home, what is it about your home you're grateful for? Are you grateful for the beautiful view you have out your front window? Are you grateful for the wonderful neighbors that you have next door? Are you grateful for the warmth of your home? Are you grateful for the way the sunlight hits in your living room in the morning or in your bedroom? It's important when we're listing our gratitude, right, that instead of just saying, I'm grateful for my home, being super specific about what you're grateful for in your home. And then when you continue to maybe list that in your gratitude journal, if it's an online journal or an app, that you look at new ways to be grateful for your home, so it's not always the same thing. And the other thing we can do is make something of our day a habit for gratitude. For instance, if you leave for the day and whenever you come back home, the minute you open the door, you immediately think of something that you're grateful for. Or the minute you step in your car, you again immediately think of something you're grateful for. I'm going to give you a little bit of a new view. And that is a way to, evoke happiness. Of course, gratitude does not happen overnight. Gratitude takes a long time to develop. And I know for me, sometimes it's a struggle, even though I see things that I can be grateful for, that I have a closet with clothes in it, that I have a fridge with food in it. So it's like a muscle that we exercise, right? So with gratitude, we have to continually work on it in a daily fashion, the way that we work on walking or going to the gym or some kind of exercise. Because if we don't, we're not going to form the habit. And so the more you practice gratitude, the easier it is to see very small things to be grateful for. So even in the hardest times, for instance, for me, the death of my mom is the hardest time of my life that I've gone through. And what I can be grateful for is that she was an amazing mother and that she was my best friend and I had an amazing relationship with her, and the warmth and the compassion and the empathy that I got from her on a regular basis. So I can turn that around. Instead of looking at the negative that she's gone and she's no longer here, I can have gratitude for what I did have when she was here. So I'm going to be doing a lot more videos talking about how to kind of help our mind-body connection, because I feel like it's really, really important. And I feel like the key to living a successful, and when I mean successful, I mean emotionally successful, mentally successful, and happy life, is all about our emotions. I'm going to let that pass. Hold on. So, it's all about our emotions. It has to do with nothing to do with anything else except for that. It's being a master of your emotions, which has been my own personal challenge throughout my life because I have been very reactive. But I'm definitely working on that. And when you think about it, or maybe it's not something that's common knowledge, but our mind actually doesn't control the way we feel. Our heart does. Our heart is what sends signals to our brain. So when our heart is in a state of coherence, meaning that it all starts with gratitude. We're grateful. We're thinking about something like petting our dog and like the warmth of their fur and the cuddles, and we have a feeling of gratitude in our heart. The waves in our heart are going to be coherent. And when we're not grateful and we're angry and we're upset and we're agitated and irritated, the waves of our heart are going to be jagged. And then what happens is that sends signals to your brain. So whatever you're feeling in your heart is ultimately what's controlling your brain. And it's bringing that negative emotion into your brain, which is forming into a thought, which is then forming into a pattern in your life. So the true key to happiness is literally the feeling in your heart of gratitude. It's nothing else. It's simply that. And while it sounds easy and simple, and I know I just said it's simply that, it can actually be quite complicated and hard to achieve. But like I said, it's like anything else. It's a muscle. So if you're struggling with finding happiness, which we all do at times, it's very important that you make a regular habit of finding things to be grateful for, even the smallest of things. It could be a beautiful pink tangerine sunset. It could be a phone call from a friend who cheered you up on a day when you were feeling a little bit low. It could be that you were driving somewhere and you hit all green lights and you didn't have to stop one time. It could be that delicious cup of coffee that you got, or your cappuccino on your way somewhere. It could be that you went into your doctor's office and there was no wait. It could be so many little things. It could be that you drove into a parking lot and you immediately got a parking spot. It doesn't mean if things don't go that way that you shouldn't be grateful. You should always find something small within your day. There's always one thing you can find to be grateful for, no matter who you are, no matter what you've been through, no matter where you've been. Right now, I'm grateful, and I hope you're grateful for seeing this beautiful beach, gorgeous waves. I'm grateful for my dogs. Here they are. She's hidden. And even though maybe you're not here with me, you can be grateful even just for seeing this through a video, right? And the sound of the waves and the beauty of the sun and of those palm trees right there. So we have to try and be in the moment and catch ourselves when we find ourselves complaining. And I'm definitely an offender of this. Sometimes I feel like venting helps, but actually complaining just reinforces our negative feelings. So we really want to try to just have as much gratitude and stop ourselves when we go into that kind of negative space. So I hope this was helpful. I couldn't see any of the comments because it's sunny here. I will respond to them shortly, and I hope that you have a blessed day.